there it is. I got another chill.
Yeah, the season finale of How I Met Your Mother tonight on City. So you got to be there for the hour finale. I'll be PVRing that, so don't tell me what happened. But
I'm going to be watching it live because you know what? Monday night's one of those nights. There's nothing going on a Monday night for me.
Sleeping.
Oh, sleeping.
Go to bed
I know
at
you
7
go to bed early.
Like 6. Well, that's not early. That's what time you should go to bed.
I go to bed at 10.
That's crazy.
I'm crazy.
I know you are.
In a good way.
Okay, this is something I'm sure we're going to disagree on. The average cost of a wedding has risen to $30,000, excluding the honeymoon. And apparently it's not just couples trying to have their favorite day. They're trying now to show up their friends on a nicer wedding that they have. Brides feel overwhelmed by the pressure to put on a show-stopping big day. So
you spent how much on your wedding?
In our day, which was in the late 80s, and because we paid for it ourselves, we spent $13,000, but for us that was everything.
Yeah.
So here, we've got the poll up and running right now, breakfasttelevision.ca. Watch out there, there's a camera behind you. Look at it. Go to breakfasttelevision.ca, instant poll right now. Do you regret how much you spent on your wedding?
You do.
I do.
If you had to do it all over again.
If I had to do all over again, I'd go to City Hall, have a nice party afterwards, and that's it. Put the money on a down payment for a house.
Smart.
I just think that it's crazy what we spend on a union between two people.
My daddy paid for my wedding, so.
But, you know,
Yay. But you know what? And it was very expensive because everybody was from City was there, so the bar bill was huge. But would I regret it? And let's say if I had to spend the money myself. Actually, we were going to elope. We were going to go to New Orleans and elope, and I phoned the travel agent to book the trip, and I wasn't going to tell anybody. And she said, "Have you told your father?" I said, "Well, no, the whole point of eloping is you don't tell anyone." She goes, "Well, I'm not booking your trip until you tell your father."
Oh, she was in the know.
Oh, she was in the know. Yeah, it was my dad's travel agent. So my dad and I went out golfing, and I told him, you know, what we were going to do, and he said, "Absolutely not. You're going to have a big wedding." And we got married at Casa Loma. And do I regret it? Absolutely not. I'll remember that day for the rest of my life.
But you would still remember that day if you had a really
A lot of people who were there don't remember it.
If you had a really... I just remember how sick I was that day.
You were so sick.
I was so sick.
And you emceed it, so you're right.
But the thing is, at a time when a couple is just starting out, the last thing they need to do is spend $30,000 on anything. And you're going to remember that. I would remember my wedding day. I remember my first date with Beth. Yeah. And I think I spent $26 on dinner that night. So I don't think you need to spend money in order to remember it and be fond of it.
You know what's changed my mind, though? And I'll tell you what's changed my mind, is your second wedding in Las Vegas. That totally changed my mind.
Oh, wasn't that fun?
Now, I don't know how much that kind of wedding would have cost, but I am telling you, it's so much fun. So that's what I would recommend. Is
Elope
going
to Vegas, use that as your honeymoon, and get married by Elvis.
The Graceland Chapel, get married by Elvis, bring a few friends, and have a great night in Vegas. I am totally with you. Don't spend a lot of money and spend it on the house.
Yeah, you know,
so I am going to agree.
I think when you could take that money, and especially these days, because again, this generation is having more of a trouble with money than the previous generation. The last thing you need to do is just try and outdo your friends by having bigger flowers and a bigger venue and a bigger band and have ABBA playing at your wedding. So,
ABBA will play at your wedding?
Yes, they will.
Wow.
I don't know.
I don't know about that.
But I just think it's ridiculous what we spend on a wedding at a time when we could be using that money to buy a house, to pay off student loans, to get you started off on the right life.
But it's something special in an event in your life that you'll always remember, and will you always look back and think, you know what, I wish I had a wedding.
Our wedding.
Regret in your life. And how does Beth feel?
Well, Beth, yes, she tends to sort of agree with me, but in a lot of cases still wants that special day. But it can still be a special day. But that wedding put us 10 years behind.
Yes.
It really did put us 10 years behind. And realistically speaking, weddings are getting out of hand.
You know when you regret the big wedding? When you get a divorce.
Yes.
That's when you
If you get a divorce.
If you get a divorce.
Yeah. So what? Now,
you don't do it the second time.
Now, Frank, your wedding, it wasn't that lavish or extravagant. It was at the Eglinton Avenue
Yeah, it
event,
was.
right? Was that lavish?
Yes.
Okay, that was lavish.
Did you see
then,
the flowers on the table?
Okay, Frank, flowers. I think he got a deal.
No, but they were stunning. They were
But-
beautiful. I got to take the centerpiece home.
And
your cousin tried to steal it from me,
by the
but
way,
let's not get into that.
By the way, you weren't allowed to take the centerpieces home from that wedding.
His father said I could.
With my dad and Jen could bat her eyes. My dad will say, "Yeah, take the car home."
Yeah. He's done that.
But there's a lot of families who can't afford
That's the thing,
lavish
Cap.
weddings.
Yeah, so with some families, so with my father, we had the full discussion as well. My father has worked very hard, and he said he wanted to have a big wedding with his friends, and our friends there as well.
You have to take the parents into consideration.
You really do. We're thankful that we could afford something like that. For those that can't, keep it simple. And some people spend more time planning their weddings than what they do on planning their relationship and planning their years ahead, planning their retirement. There's so much focus given to that, and the key is just do what makes you happy as a couple. Forget everything else.
Yeah, definitely. So, Winston, what did we? So the poll we asked you: do you regret what you paid in your wedding? What are the results so far?
65% of the people said no, they don't regret it, and
Wonderful.
35% saying yes. Yeah.
So yeah, I
So
mean,
35% are divorced and 65% are still together.
I know I would have a tough time selling this to a lot of people. I know people say, well, that's
You are
supposed to
going
be
to have a tough
the
time.
special
Now,
day.
I want you to put the shoe on the other foot. I want you to think about, let's say, Kaylin getting married and maybe deciding that they were going to elope. Would you be okay with that? She's not going to have a big wedding?
I would probably give her a choice. I would say to her, here is the money I was going to put into your wedding. You can either choose to put it into your wedding or use it, and we'll just try and have a much smaller affair.
Okay,
There's nothing
nice.
to say. There's nothing to say you can invite your friends down to City Hall for the wedding and then have a really nice party. You can still invite all your friends and still have a really good time without all the trappings that go with a wedding. It's getting ridiculous. It's getting out of hand what we're paying.
All right, Kev.
I'm just
65%
saying.
say they don't regret it, though.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll keep looking at that poll.
We'll take a break on Breakfast Television. We'll be back for better or for worse after this.